In Destiny, as the seasons have gone by, Bungie has made their tweaks. There has been new metas that pop up either every season or whenever Bungie decides to officially roll out a fix and, fix something that might be a little bit broken for a time. Back during Season 8, when Shadowkeep first launched during Season the Undying, we had a new mod called Oppressive Darkness that basically made it so that Void Grenades acted like a burning or a melting point and would weaken any enemy that got caught in it, and it was essential for raid DPS at the time. Now, the next few seasons after that, we didn't get many few things, but Oppressive Darkness made another return during Season of the Arrivals, and then during Season of, Season of the Hunt? I think it was, during, I'm blanking on my words, but during the Beyond Light season, it mainly became shotguns and slugs for all sorts of DPS, swords for various other sort of things, and blah blah blah. But then as the season started to progress, there was a few different artifact mods that started popping up that made weapon metas a little bit choice, and it altered itself back and forth. Now, during Season of the Chosen, Season 12, we had a unique perk called Sundering Glare, which basically made it so that if you hit an enemy in their crit spot from a certain distance away, it was a free 20% debuff on the enemy. It was super handy for raiding encounters, especially Taniks during the slug phase, and it basically, while it wasn't exactly useful, a lot of people thought that other people were sleeping on it by not using it. Then the next season became one of the most notorious artifact mods, and during Season of Splicer, we got, I forgot what it was called, Breach and Clear, which basically made it that DPS with a grenade launcher made grenade launchers bonus damage, and a lot of people don't understand how much that was actually effective, and that was the point where grenade launchers were pretty much garbage outside of Anarchy, and then it basically made it so that with Salvage Salvo, Ignition Code, and Anarchy, all three of those grenade launchers, you could do some massive crazy damage to everything in the game, because that wasn't restricted to just bosses or big targets. It literally was everything. Became super handy in GMs. Grenade launchers were the meta. Kind of resulted in an Anarchy nerf, although they did say that Breach and Clear wasn't the tipping point. It was because Anarchy was being used everywhere. But then we get to a season like this one, where fusion rifles are the meta, because literally doing damage with fusion rifles buffs fusion rifle damage, not to mention the fact that they got a PvE buff, Sleeper got a huge buff to its damage, and it got an extra round, and there were various other things that just made fusion rifles a solid choice. And then even now, with the 30th anniversary event, Gallowhorn coming back made rocket launchers meta because of the Wolfpack Cluster Bomb buff that it can give to every legendary rocket launcher. You compare that with Explosive Light, Vorpal Weapon, just a random rocket, and it would do massive damage compared to what it would do normally. That being said, it is time to speculate in what is a meta that might come about next season because of the mods. Now, we got a little bit of a hint at what might be coming. So we know that there's at least going to be Unstoppable Glaive because of a recent TWAB. So the new Glaive weapon that is coming will have Unstoppable for that. They did tease Overload Auto Rifle and SMG. They did say they're going to buff it so it'll be a little more consistent. And Anti-Barrier Scout and Bow. So we know, at least in terms of champion mods, that we're going to have some options there. And since now artifacts being reworked to the point where it can lock every mod, we can actually pick and choose and then just use whatever champion mods we want during the season. Now, speaking of champion mods, there were various other mods throughout the season that basically made it so that if you stunned a champion, you gained back whatever way you stunned it. If, like this season, we have Solar and Stasis Overload, and if anyone managed to overload, you get your melee recharge back instantly. Lots of those mods have rotated in and out. Now, a lot of people are debating what could come about as the next season's special weapon mod, the next Breach and Clear, as it will. Now, a lot of people are speculating mainly because they want it to be something different, and I have an idea of what something could be, and that is to say a machine gun meta. Now, I know a lot of people don't use machine guns very often. I am a fan of them just because Titan Main, I love Actium War Rig and the buff it got a while ago that made machine guns applied to it as well. And I have a feeling that after a recent PvE buff and the possibility of it getting a artifact mod, because I thought of one that theoretically, could actually be pretty dang meta, I have a feeling that we could get a machine gun meta coming up soon. Because we've touched rockets, fusions, general weaponry, breach loads, grenade launchers, and grenade launchers in general, and void grenades. While that is one outlier, we haven't seen many other good things. We've seen like Withering Heat with this season as well, where any solar abilities will debuff champions, but I don't think that will be coming back. It's good, but it's not the best, just because, you know, particle deconstruction. So my theory is for a machine gun meta to come about. There was a mod that I thought of. It could be a hypothesis, but basically that with sustained fire, maybe 3 seconds of sustained fire, your machine gun could do bonus damage along the lines of Tommy's Matchbook, the way that works, where just holding down the trigger and continuous fire could buff your damage 20%, 30%, 50%, however Bungie would word it. Now, that is of course my own speculations. That's one artifact mod that I think it could go happen. 1-2 punch, just because that exists, I don't think a shotgun meta will really ensue by an artifact mod. You know, just because shotguns with 1-2 punch and the right melee setup builds, those are already one-wiping bosses, and 1-2 punch has kind of been nerfed into the ground to the point where it's handy, but unless you're really built for it, it's not exactly the meta option. I don't know if it's just a nerf because of shotguns or all the shotguns that's available on aren't the greatest, but, you know, 1-2 punch isn't as meta as it was before. Now, sniper rifles, I could see a sniper rifle meta, possibly along the lines of Whisper the Worm. You get consecutive headshots, you get a buff, but then again, that is a very unique area. Snipers were pretty meta for a while as well, but those got nerfed in the ground, so I don't know how well it would handle that. Sidearms, obviously there's a couple sidearms, unlimited ammo and all of that sort of thing could make some options available, but sidearms are, it's hard to say. I mean, the Forerunner came in, but that's really a meme weapon if I'm honest. Devil's Ruin, that's pretty good, but is really useful in Nightfalls regarding the elements and that sort of thing. Now, various other places could be held. Auto rifles, I don't know if we'll get a small arms meta ever, to be honest, just because we haven't really seen them and they've been mainly anti-champion. If they made something where spraying something with an auto rifle for 30 seconds, or excuse me, 5 seconds made it bonus damage weakened, then I wouldn't understand why. So honestly, during the speculation, just because of every weapon that's been touched and the idea of how well they could perform, I definitely foresee that a possible machine gun meta incoming could be a idea. Just because of the various weapons we had grenade launchers, rocket launchers in a way, not artifact driven, but we do have a rocket launcher meta, fusion rifle, and just generally other weapons. Now, could we see another ability be the debuffer? It's hard to say. I have definitely been waiting for the solar grenades to be a debuff grenade, but on that same note, we haven't seen Oppressive Darkness make a comeback in this entire year. It was here during Season 11, and we're all the way up to Season 15 without having seen it again or seen another mod like it. So whether or not we'll be getting that, it's hard to say. But then we started getting Breach and Clear, Particle Deconstruction, those sort of mods, to the point where, honestly, they might not go ability-wise for the debuffs, but they could definitely go weapons. And I hope that we can get a machine gun meta. I would love to see a 6-man raid team all rocking Axiom War Rig Titans, because that is the best damage option. And I would definitely love to see weapons like Heir Apparent and Thunderlord come back into the meta, just because of the fact that they have not been around. When Heir Apparent came out, it was initially not that great. It got a catalyst that made it pretty great just because it tanked, and Thunderlord, it doesn't have a catalyst. It was pretty crazy when it came out, but then people found normal machine guns and they found other exotics that were good. So, of course, that is all speculation, nothing confirmed. The only things that were confirmed were past mods that I talked about here, and that's just my hopes. I love the idea of seeing a machine gun meta coming. Aside from that, my name is Matt Scorpion, and I will see you in the next video.